Part 2 of today's show. Stretch. D. McClung, Archer Monologues. Here's the thing. Just watched a little vid on Donald Trump interview by a news guy, and what he said was, and I'm going to paraphrase here. Well, let's put it this way. He cited Abraham Lincoln as a great president, or the man obviously hasn't got a clue. And there's a lot of people in America that are like clueless, because Abraham Lincoln was not a great president. And people are miseducated, and America is like a lot of people, I don't know how many people, a lot of people think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Well, duh, no. No. His proclamation was to free the slaves in the Confederacy, or in the southern states. Didn't free any slaves in the North. So, if you think that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, like all of them, you're ignorant. And you've probably been indoctrinated with lies. Most likely while you were in high school at a public school. Because that's not true. But yet you were indoctrinated with that bullshit in high school, let's say, and you still believe it, even though you're like, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. And you're like, let's cite Abraham Lincoln as an example of somebody to be admired. No, it's just, I'm sorry. You've got to be like brain dead not to know that Abraham Lincoln was not that guy. Sorry. Didn't free the slaves. Freed the slaves in the South during the war that he started because he was a fucking asshole. It was with Abraham Lincoln's reign of terror, the war of aggression against the southern states. Yeah. Duh. And it was the beginning and the end of America, basically. So it's been, 150 years or so since he did what he did and caused the death of tens of thousands of people and the destruction of a very large portion of America. There was murder and stuff. It was crime against humanity. However, the other thing that was mentioned in the interview with Donald Trump that I just watched was this thing about shit. Give me a minute.
That's where our NSA is based. But anyway, getting back to Braverman, he was a consultant for McKinsey, and he's kind of a specialist with the World Bank. The World Bank makes these loans to put in, infrastructure for roads,
talking about the Kennedy
electrical
Foundation,
grids, water,
Kennedy
pipelines,
Foundation.
and things. So he actually
Clinton
was brought
Foundation.
in by Hillary Clinton in 2010, right after the earthquake, and they create a funding mechanism that they could funnel aid through, which is what you would do in any kind of earthquake. And it's called the Interim Haiti Relief Commission. so that sounds all well and good, but so Braverman's actually involved in the Haiti money going through for relief, people giving donations in general as well as governments. Where it kind of takes a side turn is Hillary puts about $7 billion in USAID, which is U.S. foreign aid, through there for pet projects, kind of Friends of Bill projects. And Braverman keeps saying, why didn't we build any houses? Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? So it goes back all the way to 2010 at the Haiti earthquake in January of 2010.
George, can I just stop you there? Can I just stop you there briefly? This is really important.
Sure.
Because I just want you to reaffirm something. So Braverman at some stage was asking questions about what was the money being used for. He was being a bit of a nuisance, basically.
Yes, he's married. He has a same-sex marriage with a guy by the name of Neil Brown. And Neil Brown is an expert in oil and oil pipelines. So I think he knew that, he was being, he was helping his mate, there's going to be oil drilled, and Haiti has a huge oil deposit, even greater than Venezuela in South America. But I don't think he knew that the aid money that was going to build factories and so forth was going to be, owned by friends of Bill Clinton. I don't think he thought, like, when there was a 1,500 home project and only 50 homes got built. I think that surprised him.
Right.
But they always kind of blamed it on incompetence and so forth. And then until later on, I think he sees that the money also coming through, that there's these hidden donors. There's these 1,100 hidden donors to the Clinton Foundation. And that's where he figures it out, that there are these bribes coming from kings of the Middle East and North Africa and these despotic regimes from all over the world. And that's where he has the big problem, especially with the King of Morocco. The King of Morocco gives $12 million, and a friend of the King of Morocco gives $16 million. And Morocco's on the UN watch list has been censured for human rights violations. And so he leaves in January of 2015 because of mainly the King of Morocco deal. They're illegally occupying Western Sahara to do an oil pipeline.
So this guy, Braverman, then, he has a conscience then, Greg. He sounds like George, he sounds like a good guy, doesn't he, George? He sounds like he has a conscience, right? He's obviously connected in the Ivy Leagues as well. He's known through Yale. So he resigns because he's not happy with the way things are going. These foreign dictators, human rights abusers, getting access through the Clinton Foundation, and that only a few dozen homes are built where hundreds should be built. So he resigns basically dissatisfied with what's going on.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then he goes to the press in March of 2015, and he writes this article saying, "Follow the money." Okay, so he's basically telling an interviewer, and we don't exactly know who that is. That could be Ken Vogel from Politico. That could be Ron Fournier from Ron Fournier's publication in Detroit. But somebody tells him, I think it's Ron Fournier, somebody tells him, follow the money. So he tells that. And so that's intercepted. That email is intercepted, and that's sent back to the Clinton Foundation. And so this kind of the right-hand man of Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, intercepts that email. I don't know how he found out, but apparently a surveillance was done on everyone working at the Clinton Foundation. They went through all the emails, and then they traced it back to him being Eric Braverman. So you'll see that famous smoking gun email of March 7th, almost like a death notice, who did this? And then Podesta writes back, Eric Braverman.
Right.
So,
This is all extraordinary stuff. I watched your videos today, and some of this I knew already. You put the pieces together brilliantly in your videos, and my producer Claire is going to tweet those out, and we're going to tweet them out to people. So the picture you're painting, George, is here we have a guy who is dissatisfied, to say the least, with what he sees going on at the Clinton Foundation. He gets out. It might be suggested, we can suggest that their senior DNC staffers, the Clintons themselves, this guy is a serious danger to them, right? The information this guy is carrying around could be devastating to those who worked with the Clintons and the Clintons themselves.
You were listening to a segment from the Richie Allen Show. I love his accent. They're talking about the Clinton Foundation and the Haiti situation and the crimes committed by the Clintons in regards to the Haiti catastrophe, 2010, I believe it was. So they're talking about the CEO, or the head of the Clinton Foundation at the time, who apparently has gone missing, or he's hiding out because, in fear of his life, because the Clintons certainly don't want him to be telling what actually went on with the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation and the crimes that they committed in Haiti and so on. So he knows stuff. He's an insider, and he knows what's going on, and he's like, whoa. And he resigns, and he's been disappeared for about 3 months. We don't know where he is or why he's not public, since he knows the information about the Clintons, criminal activities of the Clintons, and I'm pretty sure they don't want him to be talking or testifying in court that the Clinton people, a couple of freaking monsters that they are. Well, I'm just saying, if he's missing, then maybe he's dead, because maybe the Clintons killed him because, he threatened to expose them for the criminals they are. It's just the same old story. I mean, there's nothing new about this. It's, bad guys don't want the good guys to rat them out. So the witnesses are killed. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Now, I don't know if this guy has been murdered yet by the Clintons, or if he's just hiding in fear of being killed by the Clintons. And I wouldn't even hesitate to suggest that Clintons or any other people in power, any other criminals that have committed crimes against humanity and so forth, would stop at nothing to quiet the witnesses, to make sure they didn't spill the beans on us and show us, here's the crime and here's the evidence, and they committed the crime because here's the evidence and here's the evidence, and I know the evidence. I've got the evidence. I was working in the fucking criminal mafia of the Clinton people. And now they're going to kill me because I'm going to rat them out. So you understand the story. Now, this is not fairy tale. This is not some sort of novel, like written by some fiction writer. This is life, people. And it fascinates me that in the seats of power, in the positions of power that are reality in America and in the world, is that, it's dangerous. These criminals are doing bad things, and they're getting away with it sometimes. For example, George Bush is freaking the number one mass murderer piece of shit in the world during his reign of terror as president. The Bush Mafia, one of the most dangerous criminal organizations on the planet at this point. One of, I didn't say the top one, but one of, perhaps one of the top in America. And this bastard is still walking around free. Hasn't been indicted, hasn't been arrested, hasn't been convicted, hasn't been executed for crimes against humanity. I mean, basically, it's like George W. Bush is walking around like this. Is, by comparison, this would be like saying, okay, Adolf Hitler, sir, you murdered like millions of people and created havoc in the world, and you're like a fucking insane maniac. But we're just going to let you walk around and just go about your business, and like maybe go live in Argentina or somewhere, and have fun and enjoy your wife and get laid, and eat good food, and just go on about your business. No big deal. No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to arrest you and take you to the Hague, try you for crimes against humanity, and execute your fucking sorry ass. Nope, not going to do that. Just go ahead and live. So that'd be like saying, Hitler. We know you murdered millions of people, and you're responsible for raining terror upon the world during your reign of terror in the 30s and 40s in Germany. But we're just going to give you a free pass and let you go live in Texas. I mean, seriously. Go live in Texas, and have fun, enjoy, and, every once in a while we'll, say hi to you, and you can, get in front of a camera and I'm cool. And, and everybody just, big deal. The world of politics is strange. It's scary. Ominous. Dark. Disgusting. I thought about this thing, I think I'll run for president. And, I wouldn't win. Not in 1,000 years, but in the first place, they're not going to let me in there. I'm kind of surprised to let Donald Trump in there. Apparently, Donald Trump is going to do what they want him to do. We want a guy in there in the White House that's like a freaking lunatic. We could probably control him pretty easy. Anyway, politics is a shitty business. And I'm not going to run for president. I wouldn't even get close. The first thing they'd do is bring up everything I've ever done in my life and point to it and suggest that maybe it was a bad thing. I've never really. I'm gonna confess to you right now. I've never committed a crime in my life. And I used the word crime. I didn't say break a law. Because, as we know, laws are fabricated bullshit. They have only one purpose: to control the people. So no, I wouldn't want the job. I don't know about Donald, but he's 70 years old, so if he gets to be reelected in 4 years, he'd be 8 years, he'd be almost 80 years old by the time he gets out of office. And, he's done. All right, did my thing and I'm done. Well, I'm pretty much his age. I'm 69, going on 70 myself, and you know what? I don't want to spend the next 4 or 8 years of my life in the White House being a freaking target of every crazy lunatic in the world. I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be. Now, to be honest with you, my first week in office, I'd be doing some signing orders too. I'd be doing away with a lot of the government agencies, criminal agencies, and terrorist organizations that are sponsored by the United States government. I'd be saying, okay, NSA, you're done. IRS, you're done. The Federal Educational Department, whatever it's called, you're done. CIA, you're done. No more of that terrible business. No more of those crimes against humanity, pal. You're done. You think I'd lived out the week if I was actually to do that? If I was actually elected and put in office as President of the United States by the American people? Not likely to happen. There aren't enough people in America to vote for me that would get me elected. Because come on. How many voters in the last election here last month? November? 60-some million people voted for Donald Trump's a lunatic. And 60-some million people voted for Hillary Clinton, the murdering cunt. And yet, here I am. Oh yeah, let's vote for this guy. And I suppose there were 60-some million people voted for me, and I got to be a president. And I'm like, here I am. Okay, my first day in office. At my inaugural address, I would say, guess what, people? Well, Might sound a little bit like Donald Trump in his weird little speech there on the inauguration day. 16 minutes of what the fuck? Anyway, it's surreal, people. I mean, Donald Trump, White House president, it's surreal. Seriously. I'm just dumbfounded here. I don't get it. But anyway. They wouldn't like me, and they wouldn't let me live. Because, like I said, okay, IRS, you're committing crimes against humanity, you're robbing the American people, there's no law making them liable for the income tax, and, and a lot of times you terrorize people and murder them and put them in prison for, failure to file their income tax return or whatever. Like, excuse me, I don't owe a tax, so why would I file a form saying I did? That's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. I haven't filed an income tax return in I don't know, 20 years. Technically speaking. Because I don't owe a tax. There's no law making me liable for the income tax. Why would I pay something I don't owe? Why would I give my money to the government that they have no right to even ask me for? Let alone demand it from me. There's no law. I'm serious. I mean, that's not just an opinion. I'm just making this stuff up. There's no law. I mean, there isn't. It doesn't exist. I've looked. It's not there. I called the IRS. Hey, IRS, show me the law. And, he hung up on me. I mean, seriously, he hung up on me. Like, what kind of public servant hangs up on a constituent? I mean, like, I'm a citizen here. I'm your boss at this moment when I'm talking to you. So basically, the IRS agent hung up on me, his boss, because he's my boss, he's working for me. At that time, when I'm talking to him on the phone, he is my employee and I am his boss. People don't understand the concept of that. I've had politicians actually say to me, I work for American people, or I work for, the people, citizens of West Virginia, or blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. It's like a local sheriff, Hey, sheriff, I'm here in your office. Well, okay, let's call it a judge or the prosecutor in Marion County. I'm in the office, courthouse, and I'm in the office of the judge of the circuit court. And I say to the judge, this is hypothetical. I haven't done this yet. I will, probably. Planning on it. Judge, you work for me right now. At this moment, me in your office, I am the person you're working for. At this time, at this moment, when we're together in the office, I'm your boss. And I'm asking you a straight out question. Why are you breaking the law? And he says, no, I'm not working for you. I'm working for the people. No. At that moment, you're working for me. And I'm asking you a straight out question. Why did you break the law? And I can cite the various laws that the judge broke. I can think of one sitting judge, Judge Janes, who in fact broke the law, violated the law while in office, while doing his job, while being a sitting judge in a legal case. Broke the law. I have evidence. Unfortunately, I don't have evidence because the judge destroyed the evidence. Now, that's crime. But if you're a criminal and you destroy evidence that would convict you of a crime, that's what? Tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice. It's a crime. So Judge Janes in Marion County Circuit Court I'll tell you the case a little bit. He was a sitting judge in a divorce proceeding. He was the family law master, they said. I think the title was it. And I was in court. The wife was having a divorce, and which is, by the way, racket, as well as the state marriage racket, which is a fraudulent government program, because it incorporates people, and that's against the law. So anyway, I wanted something, I presented my only demand in this divorce was that I be granted joint custody of my children with the wife or soon-to-be ex-wife. And then he said something. And I heard him say it, and I can remember it as if he said it just like 10 minutes ago. And he said something. I'm not going to quote it, but the point, because that's not the point. The point is, he said something that was not, he was just not allowed to say it. And he violated my rights by denying me my condition for that divorce, one of them. And I asked for joint custody. I demanded joint custody. I said I wouldn't accept anything less than joint custody, and I have every right to have joint custody. And he said, oh, can't do that. Not going to do that. And he said some other things. I won't get into it. The point is, that was all recorded, supposedly, on the court record. They keep a transcript, a recording of the proceedings of the hearing. And the part where he actually said something illegal, oddly enough, disappeared from the tape. Because I got the tape afterwards, and I listened to the tape, and he did, his voice saying what he said during the trial, the hearing, wasn't there. The only way it couldn't be there was if he deleted it, or one of his agents, like whoever's in charge of the recordings and the transcripts, worked under his orders. Apparently, in my view, I mean, it has to be obvious that he either doctored the tape himself or deleted that second. Where's the missing tapes? Where's the missing 15 minutes? Whatever. I'm thinking of Richard Nixon. Anyway, the transcript doesn't have that in it. It's gone. It's history. What happened to it? It was deleted. Obviously, it was deleted. You can't remove, people talking on a recording unless you delete it. I mean, if you didn't delete it, it would still be there, right? It's not there. So obviously it was deleted by him or his agents. It's a crime. It's a fucking crime to tamper with a recorded transcript of a fucking trial. Crime. It is not speculation here. This is not conjecture. This is fact. It's against the law. So he broke the law. Well, I can't prove it because the transcript that proves that he broke the law by saying what he said is miraculously missing from the transcript, which is also a crime. So he committed two crimes. Judge James, who is still, today, a sitting judge in the Circuit Court of Marion County. Here is a fucking criminal sitting as a judge. A judge over legal cases. Not divorce now. He's not a divorce court thing anymore. But he's a sitting criminal judge. Sitting judge who hears criminal cases and charges crimes. People are being charged with crimes that are, by the way, not crimes. Seriously. So this judge, James, is a sitting criminal judge. Criminal. Broke the law. I just can't prove it because he destroyed the fucking evidence. Or one of his agents did. Somebody did. Because what he said isn't in the transcript. No, I'm just telling you the facts. And I don't know if you could even find a transcript. That's been over 5 years, and apparently they don't keep the recordings of the transcripts of the trials over 5 years. They just record over it. Fortunately, I did get a copy of it before it was destroyed. And imagine my surprise when I was listening to it, knowing damn well that what he said, because I was there in the courtroom when he said it, and I didn't hear him say it on the recording. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? What? And I was going to use that recording as evidence against him for having violated my rights and committing a crime on the bench. No evidence. This is not uncommon, apparently. I've had experiences in court since then. In fact, 2006, December the 6th, I think it was, in 2006, where a municipal judge in Shinston, West Virginia, may he rot in hell, I was tricked, conned, fraudulently gotten into a situation there. In a situation where I committed no crime, but still, I was threatened, intimidated by the one of the police officers of the Shinston Police Department. I can't remember his name right off. I have a record of it. At any rate, I was coerced into going into the jurisdiction of Shinston legal processes, and because he had no authority to force me to go into Shinston to the city courthouse. But I went because I was curious. And when I got there, and the preliminary stuff happened, the interview and this and that. And then I got to trial, and then all of a sudden the charges that I was facing were bumped up to something like a felony. The bottom line is the municipal judge in Shinston, at that time in December 2006, threatened me. Basically threatened my life. Certainly threatened my freedom. Threatened me. Straight out, in English, in front of witnesses. Unfortunately, I had no witnesses on my side because I went alone. Should have taken a lawyer with me. I didn't think I'd have, I'd figure, I know the law, I can deal with this. And I did the best I could, and I was right. I mean, everything I said was true, and it should be on the record, except for one little problem. There is no record. Why? Because the municipal judge, in his great wisdom and criminal mind, said, okay, drop in the charges, dismiss the case, as if it never happened. And there was the stenographer there recording every word that was said. And what happened to that transcript? Well, they don't have to keep a transcript if the case is dropped, right? Charges dropped, case closed, case dismissed, go about your business, you're gone, go, free. You're free to go, except that they threatened my life. But there's no evidence because the recording doesn't exist anymore. The judge or his agents destroyed the evidence. I was going to sue Shinston and that municipal judge and the police department because they're fucking traitors and bullies and any despicable word you could think of, call them that. Piece of shit, scumbag, asshole, prick, motherfucker. Committed treason because he violated my rights. He threatened my life. Threatened my life. Consider this. Think about it. A municipal judge, a man in power, a man of authority, a man who can put people in jail, who has control of a police department that's a bunch of guys with guns who can walk around with those guns and, because they have a badge on, can pull out their gun and shoot you dead. And he has ties with the other courts in the country and around the area, like he has connections with the state police, he has connections with the circuit court, local Marion County court, for example. He can just make a phone call to the police department in Marion County or in Fairmont, West Virginia, and say, "Oh, hey, kill the guy." Yeah, because he's got that much power. Or arrest the guy because I said so, just because I'm thinking he's doing something I don't want him to do, or whatever. I don't have to be committing a crime. I don't have to have done anything illegal. And here I'm talking about unlawful. A crime is a crime. Laws don't make crimes. Crimes are crimes because they are crimes. I mean, like rape is a crime because it's a crime. On every country on the planet, I'm pretty sure that murder is a crime. If there was no government, it'd still be a crime. So anyway, the judge, municipal judge in Shenton, committed treason. He resorted to intimidation. He resorted to terrorist threats against me. Pretty much said, I can have you killed anytime I want. So keep that in mind, McClung. I laugh about it. It's been like 10 years. Almost. 10, little over 10 years. Since this man threatened my life. Certainly threatened my freedom. For what? Because I was exercising my human rights in the city of Shenton. No, Shenton's a pretty quaint little town. I like it. But the government of Shenton is made up of thugs, tyrants, bullies, maniacs, lunatics, bad people. I don't know if the judge is still sitting in Shenton. I assume he's still alive. He's maybe still the judge. If that's the case, then someone should arrest the motherfucker. I don't have any evidence of his crime because they destroyed the evidence. Which is a crime. I'm sorry. But, case dismissed, so there's no record. So I should have taken my own recording machine and recorded the whole proceedings so I would actually have a record of the crimes this judge and his police department committed against me in particular. And I've talked to other people who were victimized by this judge and the police department of Shenton. On a lighter note, though, some of the cops in Shenton have been arrested and put in prison for committing crimes. The policemen were guilty of crimes, okay? Not necessarily related to my case. They were stealing evidence out of the evidence locker and selling the drugs on the street or whatever. They got caught, as they should have been caught, and they in deep shit. And I'm happy for them that they were caught, because they're fucking bastards. Unfortunately, the cop that intimidated me, coerced me, threatened me, one of the two, the judge and him working together in a conspiracy. Oh, conspiracy to commit crimes against me. You follow me? So those two could be charged with conspiracy. Not to mention a bailiff in the room who was like one of the police officers in the courtroom, like a bailiff. And like the bailiff talked to me. He actually said stuff to me. He actually asked me questions. Like, bailiffs don't talk to the freaking witness. Bailiffs don't talk to the defendant, as it were. You just don't. You just don't do that. It's just inappropriate. It's contrary to the rules of legal court cases. You just don't do that. And he did. And I should have told him right there. Judge, cite this bastard for contempt of court for talking to me. And if you've ever been in a court of law, you ever been to a court proceedings, you ever heard a bailiff say anything? I mean, particularly say something nasty to the defendant? Seriously. I don't know of any time it's ever happened before. And here's this asshole standing looming over me like a big giant bully, Why would anybody want to come to your house? Excuse me, you don't get to ask questions. You're a bailiff. Stand there, shut up, be quiet, don't talk. And if the recordings actually were kept, and his voice saying that to me and other nasty stuff should have been on a recording, but probably not, because the stenographer that was doing the recording probably think, that's not important to the case. Except it was, because the guy was intimidating, coercing, and threatening, and bullying, and terrorizing me. Because he was fucking talking to me. He's not allowed to talk to me. Judge should have said, hey, bailiff, shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to talk here. Just go stand in the corner and keep your mouth shut. That's what the judge should have said, but he didn't. Because it was like an inquisition. Like, there was the judge, there was the cop, and the other cop, the bailiff cop. And excuse me. Anyway, I held my own, and the charges were dismissed because it was some stupid bogus charges anyway. The original charge was, or citation was, soliciting for business without a business license. that meaning Shinston business license. And, well, sorry, but I don't need a license to do my life, to live, to exercise my freedoms, to talk to people, to hand them my calling card. Here's my name, my address, my phone number. Here's where I am. Come to my studio. Look at my art if you want. Come on, if you want to, come to my place. Here it is. Here's where you go. Here's my phone number. Call me if you want to come visit. Give me a call and let me know you're coming, so I can be ready. Expect you. I have a right to do that. I have a right to tell people my name, verbally or on a piece of paper called a calling card. I don't need a license for that. That's an inalienable human right to talk to people, to say, hi, I'm me, and what's your name, and pleased to meet you, and oh, by the way, I'm an artist, and I have an art studio down the road. Come and visit me sometime. I'll show you my art. I have a right to do that. It's not a business. It's not a corporation. I don't have a corporate license, meaning business license, which is the same thing as a corporate license. Anytime you get a license, anytime you apply for and buy a license from the government, you are applying to be a corporation, and if they grant you the license, then they're granting you a corporate charter, and you are bound to corporate law. So, if you get a business license, I don't care if it's federal license, state license, county license, city license, whatever it might be, like a license to get married. Okay, I got a marriage license. You're asking to be made into a corporation where you can exercise a privilege of whatever that program might be, such as pretend to be married. By the way, state marriage has nothing to do with marriage. Nothing to do with real marriage, because real marriage is a human right, not a privilege. Why would anybody get a license to exercise a privilege when they've already got the inalienable human right to marry? That's just stupid. But Americans just, oh yeah, you gotta have a license. Yeah, stupid people. Most Americans have been brainwashed. It took about 2-3 generations to totally indoctrinate the whole country, the whole population of America, into believing that this state marriage thing is a valid thing, and it's, you gotta have it. It's only a legal way to get married. Bullshit. First place, marriage has nothing to do with it. Marriage has nothing to do with the government. Hey, let's get married. Okay, I marry you, you marry me. Case closed. End of story. However you go through the process, whatever ceremony or not ceremony that you engage in to activate this beginning of the marriage, the wedding ceremony. It's not a marriage ceremony, it's a wedding ceremony. It's a ceremony, a ritual. It's not even anything legal. It's just something people do. Cultural thing. That's nothing to do with being married. It's a right. If you want to be married, I want to be married. Okay, I'll be married, and then you just be married because, say a few words to each other and say, yeah, I want to marry you. I want to be your husband. I want to be your wife, and let's live and be happy and have a family and live in a home together and be happy. And we're married. Ta-da! You don't need the government for that. That's because rights can't be licensed or taxed or regulated or controlled.